Hello and welcome back. My name's Rogan. Thank you for joining me again. Now, last week I think I promised you a story for slightly older children. So today I'm going to tell you a story called The Story Thief. It's a story about stories. And when I'm visiting schools, I often use this story in year 5 and year 6 classes because by that age there are always one or two children who think they are too old for stories, too cool for stories. Stories are just for kids, and obviously that's absolutely not the case. And I see it as my job to try and convince them otherwise. Obviously, stories are really, really important for children, for their development, for their understanding of the world, for understanding their place in the world, for understanding the sort of person they want to become, for developing a moral compass. But stories continue to be important right through our growing up years, right into adult life, and right through adult lives. Stories are really, really crucial to people and who we are. So I think it was Philip Pullman that said, after nourishment and shelter and companionship, stories are what people need most in the world. And I believe that's really true. So The Story Thief is a story about stories. It's about a character called Anansi, a very ancient character. He comes from Africa. Now, if you've not heard from Anansi, Anansi was the original Spider-Man. Long, long before the character in blue and red lycra appeared, Anansi roamed the earth. Now, in different stories, Anansi appears in different guises. Sometimes he's the size of a spider, sometimes he's as big as a person. You see all sorts of different depictions of him. I'm not going to tell you what I think he looks like because that's entirely up to you as you listen to the story. Now, Anansi was roaming the earth, as he often did, and he noticed something. He noticed that all the people in the world were fed up. They were miserable. They sat around all day doing not very much at all. So Anansi was a curious character, and he decided to find out what was wrong. And when he talked to the people, they told him that Nyami, the great sky god, had stolen all the stories in the world. Can you imagine that? A world without stories. If we didn't have any stories in the world, obviously you wouldn't have any books to read. But if you didn't have any stories in the world, you also have very little to watch on the television. No soaps, no cartoons, no dramas, no horrors, no films, no Star Wars. If there were no stories in the world, most of the computer games that you might enjoy playing wouldn't exist. If there were no stories in the world, you wouldn't be able to talk about what you'd been doing to your mates in the playground, about that amazing goal that you scored at the weekend, about what happened on Coronation Street last night. If there were no stories in the world, you wouldn't even be able to dream. Imagine that. We think in stories. Stories are part of who we are. Stories are crucial to who we are. We need stories. And Nyami, the great sky god, had stolen all the stories. So Anansi decided that he was going to try and do something about it. Now, sometimes in stories, Anansi is a little bit naughty. Sometimes he's a little bit mischievous. He's always very cunning and very clever. And sometimes he's very, very nice. And in my story, he decides he wants to help the people. So he decides he's going to visit Nyami, the great sky god. Now, Nyami was a very, very powerful god. The people knew what sort of a mood that Nyami was in, because if he was happy, then the sun came out and there was a gentle breeze and everything was lovely and fine in the world. If he was sad, he might cry and it would rain. If he was angry, he would stomp about and the people would hear thunder. If he was really angry, lightning bolts would flash from his eyes. So he was a powerful god. But Anansi was clever, and he wasn't really scared of anybody or anything. He knew that he was clever. So he decided he was going to visit Nyami, and he spun himself a ladder made of silk, and he climbed up into the clouds until he came to Nyami's sky palace. And he went into the sky palace and he said, Nyami, the people below tell me that you've stolen all the stories. That's right, said Nyami. I have all the stories in a chest at the bottom of my bed. When I want to read a story, when I want to enjoy a story, I take the story out and I enjoy it. Then I put it back and keep it for myself for next time. But what about sharing the stories? Surely you could enjoy a story and then share it with the rest of the world. No, they're my stories. I want them all to myself, said Nyami. Well, that doesn't seem very fair, said Anansi. What about if we have a little bit of fun with this? What about if you set me a challenge? And if I complete the challenge, then you can release at least some of the stories back into the world. Now, Onyami liked the sound of that. He likes setting challenges. He liked to see people suffer. He was quite a cruel god. So he said, very well, I will set you a challenge. In fact, no. I'm not going to set you one challenge. I'm going to set you 3 challenges. And if you complete all 3 challenges, I will release all the stories back into the world. The first challenge is impossible. The second challenge is harder still. And the third challenge gets even more difficult. So the first challenge I would like to set you, Anansi, is to bring me the Umbaro. Now Anansi knew who the Umbaro were. The Umbaro were a swarm of hornets, and their stings were as sharp as spears. They were feared right through the world, and Onyami wanted Anansi to bring the Umbaro back to Sky Palace. The second challenge I shall set you is to bring me a Sibo. Now a Sibo was a leopard, and his teeth were as sharp as needles. And again, he was feared throughout the world. And the third challenge, the hardest challenge of all, the most difficult challenge, is to bring me Mwaisha. Now Anansi knew Mwaisha was. He'd never met her, because Mwaisha was the fairy queen. The fairy queen who dances where nobody knows. And she danced where nobody knows because she was invisible. Nobody knew where to find her. So Anansi thought about it, and he thought, right, we'll start with the easiest task. I will go and capture the Umbaro, the hornets, with stings as sharp as spears. And he went back down into the world, and he knew exactly where to find the Umbaro, because he knew where their nest was. But next to there, I don't know if you've ever seen a hornet's nest or a wasp's nest, but the way that hornets and wasps make their nest is to chew up wood, and they chew it up into a pulp, and then they spit it out, and they build their nest, and when the nest is complete, it's very light, and it's almost like paper. And next to the Umbaro, the tree that was hanging in the Umbaro's nest was another tree, and it was a coconut tree. And before he went up to the Umbaro's nest, Anansi climbed the coconut, and he nibbled at the stem of a coconut until the coconut fell on the floor. And then he went back down to the ground, picked up the coconut, and he nibbled a hole in the coconut. And he emptied out all the coconut milk from the hole. And then he went to the river. He put the coconut underneath the water until it filled completely from bottom to top with water. And then he went out to the river and found another tree. He found a cork tree. And when he found the cork tree, he nibbled at the cork, and he made a stopper to put in the coconut. He put the stopper in the hole of the coconut, put the coconut in his bag, and climbed up the tree that had the Umbaro's nest in. He climbed up the tree, but he went past the branch that the Umbaro's nest was hanging, and he climbed higher to the branch above. And when he was directly above the Umbaro's nest, he took out the coconut, he took out the stopper, and he turned it upside down and emptied all the water onto the Umbaro's nest. Now a nest made of paper isn't going to survive a deluge of water. The Umbaro flew out of their nest to find out what was soaking their nest. They were furious. Anansi, in the meantime, had climbed back down onto the floor with his coconut, and the queen of the Umbaro buzzed around looking to find who was responsible for destroying the nest. She saw Anansi, went to Anansi, and Anansi said, "No, it was the monkeys. The monkeys, they dropped water on your nest and they swung off into the trees. But I've got a replacement for your nest. I have this old coconut. It would make a perfect nest until you can build a new one." So the queen of the Umbaro decided to go into the coconut to see, and indeed, it seemed a very good substitute for a nest. So she called the rest of the swarm to go into the coconut. They all flew into the coconut, of course, as soon as they were inside the coconut. And Nancy took the cork stopper and he put it in the coconut. Then he put the coconut into his bag and went off to complete his second task. Now the second task was to capture a SIBO, the leopard with teeth as sharp as needles. Now, a SIBO was top of the food chain. Every other animal around feared a SIBO, and because of that, there wasn't a lot living around a SIBO because he had eaten most of the other animals, or they had gone far away, so to be safe from him. But a SIBO liked to play games, and because he liked to play games, you can only do so much playing games on your own, and he was a little bit fed up. And Anansi knew this about a SIBO. He knew about his desire for playing games, and he went to visit a SIBO, and a SIBO was about to pounce on him and eat him. And Anansi said, "Stop, stop! I've got a great game. Don't eat me just yet. You'll get your chance in a minute. But here's the game. You tie me up, however you like, and then I try and escape. And we time how long it takes for me to escape. And then I'll tie you up, and we see how long it takes you to escape. And whoever wins, if I win, I go free, and if you win, you get to eat me." Well, a SIBO thought, "You're just a spider. You couldn't possibly beat me. I'm big and I'm strong. I'm top of the food chain. I'm so confident that I can win this game. I'm going to let you tie me up first." "Okay," said Anansi, "lie on your back and put your paws together." So a SIBO did just that. He lay on his back, put his paws together, and of course Anansi started spinning around and around a SIBO's front legs. And then he span around and around and around a SIBO's back legs. And I don't know if you know how strong spiders' webs could be, but they are apparently one of the strongest materials in the world. And when Anansi had spun around and around and around, a SIBO discovered that he really couldn't escape. And he said, "I give up. My turn. See if I can tie you up. And see if you can escape now." But Anansi said, "Oh, no, no, no. I have other business for you." And he took a SIBO and he put a SIBO in his sack. He picked up his sack and he walked off to complete his third task, his most difficult task. "How on earth am I going to find Moesha, queen of the fairies who dances where nobody knows? She's invisible. Where could I possibly start looking?" And he thought and he thought and he thought, and eventually he came up with an idea, because he knew something about Moesha too. He knew that she couldn't resist porridge. She loved porridge, sweet, sticky porridge, more than anything else in the whole world. So Anansi thought, well, if I can't go and find Moesha, maybe I can get her to come to me. So he came up with a plan, and he went down to the river, and the riverbank was made of clay. And Anansi managed to gather some clay, and he managed to gather a great big ball of clay, and he put it on the riverbank. And then he gathered some more clay, and then he fashioned a smaller ball, and he put it on top of the big ball. And then he went searching for some sticks. He went into the woods, and he found a stick for an arm, another stick for an arm, a stick for a leg, and another stick for a leg. And then he gave his clayman some eyes with 2 stones, and a nose with another stone, and a smiley mouth with another 6 stones. And he sat the clayman on the bank of the river, and he gave the clayman a great big cooking pot. He put it in front of him, and then he started to go and get his ingredients for porridge. So he found his oats, and he found his water, and he found his molasses, which was sweet and sickly, sugar-like syrup. And he mixed them all up in the bowl, and he lit a fire underneath the bowl. And soon the porridge started to heat. And while the porridge was heating, Anansi took the rest of his molasses, his sweet, sickly syrup substance, and he poured it all over the clayman's head. So the sweet, sticky molasses went all over the clayman, completely covered him. And while Anansi was doing that, the porridge was starting to heat. It was getting hotter and hotter, and it was starting to steam. And as it steamed, the smell went out into the wide world. And eventually, Moesha smelt the lovely, sweet, sickly porridge, and she came to the clayman, and she sat by the clayman, and she said, "Clayman, your porridge smells absolutely delicious. Would you mind sharing some porridge with me? Well, the clayman was just a man made of clay, and he didn't say anything, obviously. But Moesha didn't realise. So she got a little bit angry. Do you realise who you are speaking to? I am Moesha, the queen of the fairy who dances when nobody sees. I am famous throughout the world. At least have the decency to answer me when I ask you a question. Can I share some of your porridge? And of course the clayman just sat, doing nothing and saying nothing. Moesha was getting absolutely furious. How rude of you not to speak to me when spoken to. She got so angry that she went to push the clayman. But of course the clayman was covered in sweet sickly molasses. She went to push the clayman, she put a hand on him, and a hand was stuck fast. So she put her other hand on to try and pull that one away, and of course then both hands were stuck fast. She took her foot and tried to push, but of course her foot was then stuck as well. She took her other foot, tried to push away, until she was completely trapped on the clayman. Both hands, both feet stuck to the clayman. And Nancy came in, gathered her up, put her in his sack with the SIBO and with the Umbaro. Completed all 3 tasks. So he took the sack and he started on his way back to his silk ladder. And as he was climbing up the silk ladder, he took the time to tell the Umbaro and the SIBO and Moesha why he had captured them. Because Anyami had challenged him to do it. And of course they were getting angrier and angrier in that sack as they got higher and higher up the ladder. Eventually Anansi got to the top of the ladder. He went to the Sky Palace and said to Anyami, Anyami, I have completed all 3 of your tasks. Don't be ridiculous, said Anyami. The first task was impossible, the second task was harder than that, and the third task you couldn't complete either. I wouldn't know where to start. You are lying. So Anansi took the sack and he gave it to Anyami and he said, look in the sack. So Anyami took the sack, he opened it up, of course. As soon as he opened it, out flew Moesha and the Umbaro, and out left the SIBO, and they started biting him and stinging him and hitting him. They chased him all round the Sky Palace with Anyami screaming for his life. And the 3, SIBO and Moesha and the Umbaro, absolutely furious. They went charging round the palace. Meanwhile, Anansi decided that he would go to the chest at the bottom of Anyami's bed. He discovered his bedroom, he went to the chest, he opened up the chest, and he threw out all the stories down into the world below. And that is why you have so many stories today to enjoy. Snip, snap, snap. This story's out. Just another way of saying the end. I hope you enjoyed that story. It's called The Story Thief. If you did enjoy it, see if you can learn it, see if you can pass it on to somebody else. That's the best thing about stories. Once I've told you a story, it becomes your story, and you can change it in any way that you want to. I'll see you again next week for another story. In the meantime, stay safe.